What if I told you that there was a 19th type of Pokemon? In the far reaches of the Pokemon universe lies the Tandor Region, where Pokemon have become mutated and corrupted by fallout from nuclear power plants. This has resulted in perhaps the strongest typing known to man. Today, I'll share the story of how I beat Pokemon Uranium only using nuclear types. Throw everything you thought you knew about Pokemon in the trash because this type completely breaks the matchup chart. Nuclear types are super effective against every other type in existence, only being resisted by itself and Steel. On the other hand, every type is also super effective against nuclear. That's all I'll say for now, so let's get into it. The game opens with a flashback to 10 years ago. While the electrical specialist Cameron analyzed the nuclear generator, our mother Lucille noticed a massive leak in the reactor. As panic ensued, the staff evacuated to safety, but not our mom. She went deeper into the lab and was never heard from again as the power plant exploded. Unable to cope with the loss of his wife, our father Kellen sent us to live with our aunt in Moki Town. Back to the present day, we, along with our neighbor and Cameron's son Theo, are receiving our very first Pokemon from Professor Bamboo. In this game, your starter is determined by an aptitude test. I selected all the red responses so I would be given the fire starter Raptorch. This means Theo will have Orchinx, the grass steel type, and steel resists nuclear. I didn't think this through. From here, it's business as usual until I reach the first gym in Nowtach City. Let's see what this guy who's blocking the entrance to the gym wants. I can't go there because of reasons? And the dude has a key to her house? What could the Rangers possibly be dealing with right now that's worse than this guy? Thankfully, Maria handles the situation by herself, and since we can't get any nuclear types yet, I'll skip over the battle. In Barol Town, this girl straight up insults my hometown, so I also bury her gym leader and move on. On our way to the next town, we team up with Theo to get through Comet Cave, and at the first sign of danger, he runs home crying. Upon arrival in Rochvale Town, Professor Bamboo takes us to meet Professor Cypress, who had Pokemon stolen from her lab last night. By using the Pokemon speech translator on this recovered Outin, we find out that the thief escaped to Route 6, just past town. Cypress gives me the PST to help find the stolen Pokemon. While investigating, I find this cave where a mysterious Pokemon has set up shop. That's right, the Pokemon Liberator Garlickid was behind the robbery. He then uses the stolen Pokemon in a battle against me, which seems a little contradictory to his cause, but hey, who am I to judge? After defeating him, the stolen Pokemon go back to the lab. Garlickid can't understand that humans and Pokemon can have a mutually beneficial relationship, and he runs away, swearing he'll get revenge someday. Next, we stop by the Beale Beach Ranger HQ to see our dad for the first time since the incident. Instead of apologizing for shipping us off to our aunts, he goes on and on about how he has a lot of responsibilities and how great the Rangers are. Then he has the gall to ask us to go deliver a letter to Cameron at Power Plant Epsilon, the same plant that our mother died at 10 years ago, which has since been undergoing reconstruction. Cameron recounts the story of our mother's disappearance and then tells us that our father wants us to see the remains of the plant. We're warned that the Pokemon in the area have been acting strange, almost as if they've undergone a change. And now it's time for this challenge to truly begin. I catch an irradiated Kinetmunk and name him Fission, followed by a Tancoon named Fusion, a Kostraw named Meltdown, and an Outin who I name Energy. Within the ruins of the plant, we find some illegible notes and a burnt notebook. Who could these belong to? After being exposed to too much radiation, we pass out, and when we finally come to, we tell Cameron about what we found. Upon my return to Beale Beach, it's finally time to box my starter, and then while grinding, Tancoon evolves into Tanskir and Outin evolves into a Shoutin. Feeling confident in the squad, I decide it's time to take on the third gym leader, Callie. I lead a Shoutin as she sends out a Tubjaw. I go for a Charm and... oh, did I forget to mention that irradiated Pokemon don't obey their trainers? Buckle up because this challenge just got a whole lot harder. Luckily, my Charm connects, but Coral Break rips into Energy for most of her health. I try going for Sing on my next turn, but a Shoutin loafs around and dies to a second Coral Break. I send Fission out who connects Spark for minimal damage, but gets the full paralysis. Callie swaps to her Braylip as Monk decides it doesn't want to attack, twice, and dies to a Water Pulse. She also takes Fusion and Meltdown out, resulting in my first of many whiteouts. To save you guys the trouble, I'll skip ahead to the battle I finally won against her. First I evolve Kallstraw into Trollpint, who will end up leaning on heavily throughout the run. I lead with a Shouten again, who I taught Sunny Day, and luckily she uses it. Next turn, Gamma Ray does big damage and we die to a Pursuit. I bring in Fusion to kill with a pair of Gamma Rays as Callie spams Super Potions. Moxie gives me an attack boost, but since Gamma Ray is a special attack, it sadly doesn't help much. Sablé is next, who manages to connect a Mud Bomb before going down to a pair of Gamma Rays. Now at +2 attack, Bite destroys Braylip, leaving the gym leader with only her Kara Realm. I decide to use a +3 Bite, which only does half the crab's health as it ends Fusion's run with Leaf Blade. Too little too late, as Meltdown is easily able to win us the battle with a Gamma Ray of her own. On our way out of town, an explosion goes off at the power plant. How could this happen? And why right after our investigation? Kellen gives us a ferry ticket to escape the radiation as he goes to check it out. On my way to the boat, I'm ambushed by more irradiated Pokemon, allowing me to add a Corsola and Gyarados to the team. Once I make it onto the ship, I run into Theo, who actually beats me in a few battles until I finally get lucky and flinch Metalinks with a +2 Bite, allowing me to kill it before it can kill Fusion. Then, well, this happens. I think someone needs to alert the authorities. We get dropped off on Route 8 outside of Vinaville Town, where the 4th gym awaits us. And wouldn't you know, he's a Steel-type trainer. I think it took me close to 8 hours before I was finally able to beat Sheldon, so I hope you guys appreciate this battle. I start by setting up a Howl with Fusion, as S51's hidden power does around half my health. As a Psychic Steel type, the alien goes down to a +1 Bite, bringing Tanskier to +2 from Moxie. Next, Sheldon sends in his Garurul, which is a pure Steel type. I taught Fusion Dig to deal with this, but the real issue is getting him to listen to me 2 turns in a row to use it. Between turns, the gym leader swaps into Calm Meteor, who is just barely able to survive one. Knowing from hours of experience that Sheldon will heal, I decide to boost my attack even more with another Howl. I outspeed and drop the Sentient Rock to get to +5 attack. Garurul comes back in and I finally connect a Dig, but it somehow has enough defense to survive even with my almost maxed attack. After fainting to a Metal Whip, I try to charm the monster as it gets healed, but a Shouten ignores me. At least the next 2 connect and I let my Owl go down. As a Water Nuclear type, Metal Whip is neutral against Corsola, so she's easily able to withstand a few attacks as we kill Garurul with Brines. Last is the Steel Dragon type Tracton, whose ability Speed Boost will make it the fastest thing on the field in just a few turns. Since all its moves are physical, I decide to Intimidate Cycle with Fallout. Now at -3 attack, it's time to bring in the closer. Meltdown takes 30 damage from Dragonclaw, which means she'll still live 2 more barring a crit. By sheer luck, her IVs worked out in a way that gave her hidden power Fighting, which is the only reason I have a chance in this battle. My first connects for around 60% of the dragon's health, but my second low rolls, leaving things up to Gyarados. We're able to avoid a crit and finish the battle with Water Pulse. This was without a doubt the most satisfying gym victory I've ever had. Good riddance, Sheldon. I hope you have nightmares about this loss. My celebration is cut short as Power Plant Zeta blows up and radiation begins to spread across town. A ranger saves me and Theo, who is distraught over the news that Cameron died in the Epsilon explosion. Her Staraptor flies us to Legend Town, where I'm recruited to help fight off some more irradiated Pokemon. While battling side by side with my dad's Emperilla, I'm able to catch a Basschaff, Gligar, Ekans, and Barand, which I guess is just a half-hand, half-lizard dragon. After switching the team up, we have a long slog through Baikal Rainforest before finally arriving at Amatri Town. We learn that the Fire-type gym leader Tico went into Ant Hell to train but never came back. This fire breather gives us the bug spray and we venture into the nest of bugs. We fight our way through to see this frightening scene. Tico is tied up with spider silk as hordes of bug-type Pokemon surround him, offering him as sustenance to their queen, the Seika Mater. I was only left with 2 Pokemon when I got to this point, and I'm all out of healing items, so I handedly lost this battle. And, because I'm an idiot, I didn't know there was a healing house in Amatri, so when I whited out, I was sent all the way back to Legend Town. I decided that I needed to do a little grinding in order to beat the queen, and I actually ran into a shiny Bashcalf out of nowhere. Look at how cool the white and blue color scheme is. Once I was at a good spot with levels, I sprinted through the rainforest and Anthell a second time and challenged Seikometer again. It was actually pretty easy to take the bug down with Gyarados, so now we're free to take on Tico's gym. After losing a few times, I was finally able to come up with a strategy that would work. Atomic opens the battle with nuclear slashes to Oko, Pelage, and Fyroke. Am I the only one that finds it ironic that Tico has one of the Pokemon that literally tried to offer him up as dinner? Yes? Okay. Meltdown sets up a nasty plot against Pajay and is able to knock it out with a +2 Gamma Ray. Kaimakonda takes Trawpine down, so I bring in Fusion to try to kill with Dig. So I guess Flame Burst works underground? Awesome. Atomic does a good chunk of damage, but also dies to Flame Burst, so I bring in Fallout and set up a Rain Dance. After Radio Acids outlast Tico's Hyper Potions, the gym leader is only left with his ace, Infligata. It makes sense to use nuclear type attacks against anything with a dual typing because it'll be 4 times effective. Since this thing is solely fire type, we have a rare instance where Aqua Tail is actually my strongest move. With that, we're given the Salsa badge and can leave this farm town behind. On our way to Venessi Town, Gligar evolves into Gliscor, which provides us with some much needed physical attacking. With the ability to use Surf, I can make my way from west to east Tandor, but on the way, this happens. Ah, of course. How could I be so foolish as to wander into the Surf and Ninja's turf? After defeating Ronin, Jonin, Chunin, and Genin, the big boss, Hokage, comes to settle the score with me. And I lose. A lot. But eventually the fight goes like this. He opens with a Psydine and I send out Radiation. I live in Aqua Tail and manage to connect Gamma Ray before dying on the next turn. Since I just needed a bit of chip to make sure Meltdown could kill with one hit in power, Corsola did her job. Next is Gyarados, so I bring in Gliscor. Unfortunately, due to Intimidate, Nuclear Slash isn't a one-shot and Gyarados does big damage with Ice Fang before being swapped out to Vaporeon. Nuclear Slash does around 50% and then I U-turn in order to preserve Atomic. Vaporeon's Muddy Water kills Bashcalf, but now I can bring Gliscor back in without the attack drop. Unfortunately, he ignores orders and is also killed by Muddy Water. Fusion is next, but he's no different from Atomic, also ignoring orders and dying. I bring Fallout back in and start firing off Radio Acids as Hokage finally decides to spam a few heals. Eventually I get the kill and Tuba Reel comes out. I get a lucky kill with a critical hit Radio Acid and also take down the returning Gyarados with the same. This leaves Hokage with only his signature Pokemon, Daikatuna, so I bring in Trawpine. Now it's an immediate switch back to Gyarados for an Intimidate as I eat Iron Head. After another Iron Head, my Radio Acid gets a burn, so now this fish really can't do damage. It Swords Dances and Iron Heads one last time as we finally win the battle with Radio Acids. Bested and disgraced, the former leader hands the title of Hokage over to me and disappears. While exploring Venessi City, I run into this old woman who is about to give us the savior of not only this game, but also my sanity. That's right, it's an Eevee. And in this game, when leveled up with an irradiated Pokemon in your party, this is what happens. Unlike all of our other nuclear types so far, Nucleon is naturally occurring. This means I won't need to deal with it ignoring orders. Also, its ability is called Atomize and it is absolutely busted. Similar to Sylveon's Pixelate, any normal type moves now become nuclear. And guess who learns Hyper Voice? After beating the presumed gym leader, he reveals he was actually a fake and we're dropped into a room with the real gym leader, Rosalind. She leads with a Masking who has Zoroark's illusion, but all it does is pain split until we take it down with Reactor. After ignoring me multiple times and failing to set up a nasty plot, Meltdown is able to dodge a high jump kick and kill Winnow Tinger with Gamma Ray. Next, Atomic takes her miasmatic down with a nuclear slash. Duplicat is the Tandor Region's Ditto equivalent, so knowing it'll use Transform, I go into Baskcaf since his stats aren't the best. Since all my other moves will be resisted, I use Half-Life, which like the name suggests, always does 50% of the health the opponent has left. Then I'm easily able to take the fake down with Gyarados. Last, we crit a nuclear slash against her ace Dramsama for the win. Baskcaf evolves into Barriette on our way to Silverport Town, where we learn about some unethical Pokemon experimentation from this outing. Professor Larkspur and his associates try to buy the PST from me and then kick me out of the lab. Never a good sign when someone mutters to themselves that something is interesting. On my way out of town, I get ambushed by what appear to be Team Rocket grunts. They steal my Pokemon and knock me out, and guess who I see when I come to? What did I just say? Not shocked at all that this guy's evil. He plans to reverse engineer and mass produce the PST in order to settle debts he owes to other organizations. As I'm busting my way out of my cell, I get a phone call. No, Wilma, I don't have a minute. I swear, telemarketers, they're all the same. On the other side of the wall is none other than Garlic Kid, also trapped behind bars. I read about some illegal experiments and free the Pokemon, who in turn uses his garlic-induced strength to pry my jail cell bars apart. Wait a minute, is Garlic Kid just the pre-evolved form of Wario Man? After beating some trainers and getting my Pokemon back, Larkspur threatens to kill me via Pokemon battle. I make quick work of him and he flees the lab, never to be seen again. Once we arrive in Snowbank Town, we go straight to the gym where the Dragon and Ice Master Veyron awaits us. This gym can only be taken on if there are two challengers at the same time, but luckily Theo was waiting for us. His Pokemon end up just being Death Fodder as 3 Hyper Voices from Nucleon Oko Veyron's whole team. But look at this! A Dragon Flying Dunsparce evolution? I might play this game again just to have a Dunserif. We're awarded the Mega Bracelet for being pure of heart, or something, and I'm given the Gyarados height. The last gym is in the village hidden in the sea, Tsukinami. On our way there, we run into a pirate who tries to steal our Pokemon. There's way too much to unwrap in this game, but yes, there are pirates. Fortunately, they're very weak. Wait, did the Serpent Ninjas just murder them? Ah, whatever. Oh, what's up, Professor Elm? It's finally time for the 8th gym. The 2 gym leaders are the Prince and Princess of the village, having Darkness and Light themed teams respectively. The challenge to this gym is you need to fight both leaders back to back with no time to heal. I decide to battle Prince Kaito first since his dark themed team is easier for me to deal with. After doing a little damage to Umbreon with Gyarados, I'm able to take it down with a Hyper Voice from Radioactive. Gliscor brings his Luchabra's health low before dying to Mach Punches, but since Meltdown ignored orders, she had to eat a close combat before getting a Gamma Ray kill. Then it's back to Nucleon to kill Vilicard and Kaito's Mega Arbok, which might I say has an incredible sprite. Now on to Princess Hinata and her light-based team. I Mega Evolve Barriette, who gets killed by Flare Blitz, but the recoil done to Flareon makes sure I'll get the kill with Hyper Voice. I then proceed to Hyper Voice kill the rest of her team, including Mega Whimsicott, who showed me the most out-of-place animation ever with Hurricane. Listen, I love this game, but how did someone see this and think, wow, that's perfect? With the last gym badge in hand, we're finally ready to take on the Tandor League. But of course, as we step outside the gym, we learn that the last stable power plant in the region, Omicron, has been threatened. Naturally, we fly over and are yet again tasked with subduing irradiated Pokemon. While here, I catch Chupacho, Hagoop, and Tubareel. Then as we approach the power plant facility, it explodes, and from the debris, 2 figures appear searching for uranium. The 2, appearing to have a shared consciousness, identify themselves as Curie and Urain. They reveal that they've been manipulating the corrupted Pokemon and are responsible for the meltdowns of all the reactors, stealing the nuclear fuel necessary for the plants to remain stable. As Urain is about to atomically punch our dad into nuclear waste, Cameron cuts in on his Yatagaryu. Theo runs into the crossfire, and as Curie targets him, Cameron is forced to take the attack himself. On the brink of death, he and our father are brought to the ICU in Beale Beach's Ranger HQ. When we get to the building, our dad reads a letter from Cameron explaining he's actually an agent of Interpol and has been gathering information on Urain and Curie for the last 10 years. We learn from his report that Urain is an artificial Pokemon built to be a source of unlimited energy. He also wrote that the Curie interface is a device that allows the wearer to relay their thoughts and commands to Urain. Cameron concludes that the pair will be returning to Power Plant Zeta, where they've stored all the nuclear fuel they've stolen from the other plants. With our next destination laid out, we're given the hazard suit and start making our way through the hazard zone. While here, we find another naturally occurring nuclear type, Hazma, which appears to eat radiation, neutralizing dangerous areas. After catching one for myself, we finally make it to Power Plant Zeta. Theo's call with our dad cuts out as the hazard suit alerts us of rising radiation levels. Urain appears in front of me and Theo, letting out a huge wave of radiation which knocks us out. I come to, alone in a room, wondering where Theo is. While exploring the power plant, I catch my last viable encounters: Topharang, Jelin, the naturally occurring Gyarados, Gerbolta, Para-Audio, and the naturally occurring Xenogin. I also decide not to pass on the opportunity to catch a static level 75 Trawpint to replace Meltdown. I reach Curie and Urain at the heart of the north sector of the power plant where Theo is being held captive in a stasis tank. I'm challenged to a battle which I lose, resulting in 100 years of nuclear winter and a game over. You really thought I'd let things end like that? Roll the real fight. Curie opens the battle with her own Nucleon as I send out Gliscor. Atomic ignores orders 4 times in a row while getting pelted with quick attacks before he finally sets up a sword stance. Next turn I miss Sky Uppercut but manage to land it on the turn after for a kill. Curie sends her own Barriette in next and Mega Evolves it, but it still isn't any match for +2 attack Gliscor. Xenoqueen also goes down to Sky Uppercut, but its Aftermath ability does some chip. Arbok lives the attack and finally manages to kill my Gliscor with a Gunk Shot. I bring in Nucleon for a quick attack of my own and then switch Gyarados in to deal with Urain. Intimidate negates the boost from its Geiger Sense ability, but its special attack is still at +1. After a combination of Intimidate cycling and Urain dropping its own special attack with Overheats, Fallout is able to finish the man-made Pokemon off with a few Aqua Tails, giving us the win. Having expended too much energy, Urain reverts to its alpha form but manages to use a Quantum Leap to escape with Curie. I save Theo from the stasis tank and all is right in the world. For now. Cameron wakes up and we tell him all about the battle we fought. Then Kellen decides it's up to his rangers to find Curie and bring them to justice. Before heading to the Tandor Championship, Professor Cypress lets us know that Hazma can cure the harmful effects of radiation from irradiated Pokemon. They still keep their nuclear typing and appearance, but now they'll listen to me without question. I cleanse my party and head off toward Victory Road. The way the Tandor League works is each gym leader and some other participants enter into a 32-person tournament. My first 2 opponents will always be Senior Goldcorn and Angelica, but then it's randomly determined which 2 other trainers I'll face. With an opportunity to cheese the game here, I soft reset mostly until I don't see Sheldon, but actually get a really good draw with Veyron and Hokage. Every gym leader has a Mega now, and Hokage is the only other trainer available to be battled, so I really lucked out. I lead Gliscor against Goldcorn, who takes the first KO on Tansteer with Nuclear Slash. Unfortunately, Splendifowl outspeeds me and gets a kill with Hurricane. I bring in Nucleon, who manages to dodge the attack and Hyper Voice the bird out of the sky. I bring the new Meltdown in to deal with Whimsicott, and after also dodging Hurricane, he gets an Oko with Sludge Bomb. Next is Hiraloon, who Radioactive easily takes out with Hyper Voice. Ampharos would actually survive any of my attacks, so I decided to use Gelin to bring it to half health with Radio Acid before dying to Signal Beam. From here, it's just 2 more Hyper Voices to knock out Ampharos and Barriette for our first tournament win. Next up is Angelica, who uses Fairy types. I open with Meltdown, who gets hit for decent damage with Play Rough before setting up Nasty Plot. Next turn, after tanking another attack from Nymflora, we get our first KO with Sludge Bomb. Alpico is next, which is dangerous because of its base 132 speed and 110 special attack. Thankfully, Blizzard misses and Trollpine gets another Sludge Bomb knockout under his belt. Aromatisse never stood a chance, but Angelica's Sylveon manages to live on 1 HP and connect a Moonblast, bringing me down to 2. Sludge Bomb poisoned, so the evolution goes down and Winnotinger is next. For some reason, she decides to use Final Gambit to take down my last 5 HP, so Winnotinger also dies in the process. Last is her Ace Siren Tide, and I bring out Nucleon. I don't know why I decided to go for quick attacks here when 2 Hyper Voices definitely would have been enough to kill, but Siren Tide ends up taking me out with Moonblasts. I bring Gliscor in to finish the Sea Queen off with Nuclear Slash, and that's 2 battles down. Veyron is third, who has the same team as when we challenged his gym, except he switched Glavenug out for a Frosthra. I lead Xenogen against his Dunserif and set up Fallout, which is a new weather condition in this game. Every turn, it'll deal damage to non-nuclear or steel types, making it great for my team. After Rocky Helmet and Fallout damage, Manhattan is able to take the dragon down with Radio Acid. Next is Alpico, and I decide to see if Blizzard will miss, which sadly it doesn't. After Fallout damage, Nucleon lives a Moonblast to get the kill with Hyper Voice and drops Andirond with 1-2. Now Frosthra comes out, who's probably Veyron's scariest Pokemon. I taught Meltdown Flamethrower between battles, and after just barely surviving a Blizzard, I fire one off for a kill. Back to Radioactive, who I didn't expect to be outsped by Fafnir, resulting in a death from Dragon Pulse. I bring out Gliscor, who outspeeds the Yeti Goat, but Nuclear Slash isn't enough for the kill. I survive a Dragon Pulse and I'm able to take Fafnir out with another Nuclear Slash. Last is Mega Ampharos, who lives the radiated attack and finishes Gliscor off with Signal Beam. I assumed Trollpine's Sludge Bomb would be enough to end the battle, but Ampharos actually lives. With incredible luck, I get the poison, so even though Meltdown drops the Thunder, I'm still able to eke out the win. The last battle standing between me and the finals is a rematch against Hokage. I open with Xenogen against his Spawnery and set up a Fallout. The Spider kills with a single Hydro Pump, but the stage has already been set. Nucleon comes in to do what he does best. Hyper Voice kill Hokage's entire team except for Daikatuna, who Ironhead flinches me and kills with the next one. Regardless, I bring out Meltdown to face the Tuna. I guess you could call this Tuna Meltdown. Look, I'm trying here. Anyway, I replaced Flamethrower with Thunderbolt and a crit manages to Oko Hokage's ace. Right before the championship match against Theo begins, the legendary Pokemon Acton jumps out of the volcano, but something is off about it. How is it possible that Acton has become irradiated? I'm forced to battle the legendary Pokemon, but actually defeat it really easily. Veyron speaks to the beast, letting us know that another Pokemon invaded its lair and siphoned energy from the precious metals within the volcano. Naturally, Curie appears before us, claiming Urain has reached its true form. Radiation levels massively spike, and we come face to face with Gamma Urain, the Angel of Destruction. At level 85, this thing is no joke as it one-shots Xenogen with Overheat before I could get a Half-Life off. I bring in Barriette and Mega Evolve him. After dodging an Overheat, we connect Cross Chop, but it only does around a quarter of this monster's health. Next turn, I take an Atomic Punch pretty well, and after a half-life, Reactor's ability Bloodlust brings his HP back over half. After a few missed attacks, we land another Cross Chop, but it isn't enough to win the battle. Even at -2 special attack, Overheat takes us out, so I bring in Gliscor. After living in Atomic Punch, we connect an Earthquake to finally put an end to Curie's reign of terror. Acton does something, I guess, as the Curie interface breaks, revealing our presumed to be dead mother as the operator. We pieced together the story that she survived in the stasis tank with Urain for 10 years and lost her mind due to isolation and influence of the Curie interface. As Kellen takes her away, Urain returns with Acton, letting us know that the legendary Pokemon provided it with an infinite source of energy. Urain then recounts its experiences from 10 years ago leading up to the explosion of Power Plant Epsilon. Through many conversations, it and Lucille became friends. Although Urain was man-made, it somehow developed emotions and Lucille became attached to it. When the order to shut down the Urain project and destroy the Pokemon was issued, she decided to throw everything away to save it. On the day of the reactor meltdown, Dr. Larkspur threw the switch to initiate the detonation. Lucille jumped into Urain's stasis tank where they remained for 10 years. Somehow everyone is okay with Urain not having to answer for its actions as it joins my party. Theo steps up to say he's forfeiting the finals of the championship as we more than deserve the title. And with that, we're crowned the champion of Tandor. We uncovered the secrets of the Epsilon explosion, saved the world, and completed our journey, all while relying on nuclear-type Pokemon. I've always loved ROM hacks and fan-made games since the new stories in Pokemon are so refreshing. This game was a cut above the rest, and I strongly recommend playing it to anyone who's watching. I had a blast with this challenge, and I can't wait for the next story I get to share with all of you. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a like and subscribe for more like it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.